So in this video, I'm going to chat about my experiences as a brand new rider on the roads and also in my garage. So I will not lie, I spent the first few days just inside my garage because I was scared to go out on the road. When we passed our pre-learner course, someone in our class asked the instructor, "Cool, so are we qualified? We're fine to go on the road, right?" He said, "Look, you're fine to go to a deserted car park and do some laps. And then maybe once you've mastered that, maybe start with a side street and then maybe step up from there." So I started in my garage late at night by myself, no one else around, and baby steps. I started just going 10 meters, going 20 meters. My parking garage has ramps inside it. So there's a very gentle one that I could practice baby hill starts on. And then it's also got some more aggressive ramps that I could really practice getting up and then braking on the way down. So I stayed in there a good few days, and there's a very steep, I thought it was very steep, it was cute of me. There's a very steep ramp to get up and out to the street where I live, and I thought, God, it seems insurmountable. I'm never going to be able to do that. But after a few days, you just got to do it. So there's a left turn and an uphill at the same time. So I thought, okay, let's do it. I was terrified of not putting enough throttle on, that I would just stop halfway up the hill and just fall over or roll back. So I thought, I've got to commit to this. Got out there, and then of course the first turn at the top of my driveway is a right-hand turn, which in Australia is you've got to turn against traffic. All right, so there's already there are already some challenges. I waited forever until it was completely clear, turned right, and then I headed to the nearest side street because I just wanted to practice on a quiet road, no one else around. I just wanted to be left in peace while I dawdled at 20-30 kilometers per hour. Because if it's a quiet road, you can get away with that. Most side streets are 50 kilometers an hour speed limit, and I was not up to going 50 yet, but I also didn't want to be a pain. So I found a really quiet road, really quiet time of day, and I just practiced. And then of course you start just making ever widening circles, and then you go out to a road that is 50 and you do 50. And then you go out to a road, maybe it's 60 and you do, I was going to say 60, you do 55 because you're still a bit of a weenie. So I spent a couple of weeks on very quiet, gentle roads. And it's scary. The two scariest things about riding a bike as a new person: one, it's a manual. I have not driven a manual car, so this is all very new to me. And number two, you don't have a metal box around you to protect you. So when you're driving, you make a dumb mistake, maybe you have an accident, okay? Maybe an airbag goes off. But if you make the same mistake and you're riding, maybe you break a bone, maybe you die. The stakes are so much higher and the gear is still unfamiliar. So I was pissing myself for the first few weeks / months. Not gonna lie, still sometimes pissing myself. It depends on the road. Sometimes when I'm on a multi-lane road, like a 4, 5, 6 lane road, like a highway, and the speed limit is say 90, and that's the most I'm allowed to do, that can get pretty scary, especially if you feel like you're squeezed between a bus and someone else on the left who is really coming up a little too close to you. That's the thing about being a motorbike rider. People don't really count you as a car. So you are the perfect person for them to think, oh, I'm gonna just cut in front of them. They don't really count. Pedestrians will do it too. So I was riding with my L plates displayed, which you have to by law. Pedestrians will just walk out in front of you, which is very interesting because surely they see the L plate, which is screaming at them, this person doesn't know how to handle this bike very well, and they just step out in front of you. I'm like, do you want to die? Because if you do that, you might. So then as an L plater, you have to know how to brake. You have to brake quickly and safely and hopefully without falling over, tipping over like a cow. I've had a lot of times where pedestrians have just walked out in front of me and I've had to do an emergency brake, and God knows why they trust me with their life. I think it's because cars and people don't see you as a proper vehicle. So you have to be really mindful of that. You have to be hyper aware of your mirrors, how much you can see, where your blind spots are. You have to be vigilant all the time. I'm so used to driving an automatic car that, you know, when the lights go red in front of you, you're like, oh, I've got to wait 3 minutes now. Boo, you just step on the brake and then you stop. So on a bike, when you get hit with a red light and it's sort of an inopportunely timed red light, you have to pull the clutch in, kick down all the gears. And if you're in 6th gear, you need to kick down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with your left foot. And then you have to brake safely with both your handbrake and your rear brake. So all these things happening at the same time, and you have to come to a stop gradually and safely. So that's riding a manual. It's very different to operating an automatic vehicle. And I'm getting better at the feeling of having cars and buses around me. I remember the first time I went out on a main road and I had oncoming traffic, it spooked me because they were really close to me and I had no protective metal cage, right? But you do get used to it. So it's just exposure therapy in the end. And I do need to get out on some more very scary main roads. I'm grateful that I can only go 90k at the moment. I used to be quite terrified of leaning and cornering because to turn the bike, you obviously have to lean with it. You can't just be upright. And when you're new, when you're fresh, your muscles tense up and you're like, no, I can't lean, must go straight ahead. I'm getting better at cornering, I'm getting better at leaning, I'm getting better at not slowing down too much around a corner, although you should probably slow down a little bit. I don't want to encourage unsafe and reckless behavior, but it's a balancing act because you also have to keep up with the speed of the traffic around you so you are not a liability, so you do not cause an accident, so you do not cause someone to run into the back of you. So it is pretty terrifying. It's just training your brain because for the first few weeks or months, none of this lives in your body. And until it actually lives in your body, you have to manually, with your brain, walk through every single step. And then once it starts to become muscle memory, it becomes a lot easier. And I'm getting to that stage now, but I'm also very careful to be not too complacent about it because the second you lose vigilance, I think that's the second that something perhaps goes a little bit wrong. So I will just add, when you're riding, you should probably make sure you are completely alert and well rested because literally your life depends on it. I know that I've driven before when I've been a little tired, and you can get away with that if you have 15 or 20 years of experience. I've only got about half a year of experience on this. So whenever I ride, I make sure my brain is working and everything is perfect. Let me know if you want me to chat about anything else bike related. Obviously I'm newer, but I might be able to offer a perspective if you're interested in getting your license as well.